Hi, this is Ron with Stay Sharp Guide again. We're going to go a little bit deeper now into the science of sharp. From a bow hunter standpoint, sharp is something we should all care a great deal about. Not all heads are coming from the factories as sharp as we'd like them, and when we use a broadhead for practice or we shoot an animal with it, we want to return it back to a razor's edge. What exactly does that mean, to return it to a razor's edge? How do you quantify that? I picked up some gear that's going to help me quantify that. One of them is this BESS certified sharpness meter or sharpness scale. And I'm going to blow this up a little bit bigger for you so you can read it, but it tells you what sharp means when cutting through a certified test media, which looks a lot like 2-pound test line when you're fishing. Test media that will go in this holder. When I have the media stretched across here, I will slowly press a blade through. When it cuts it, that tells me the amount of force it took to cut that certified media. On top of that, I'm going to be looking at the sharpness under a 1600 power USB microscope that I'll have hooked to my laptop. So not only will we be able to see sharp or degrees of sharpness, but then we can test for sharpness as well. Now, as I said, we all know sharp. Well, some of the things I'm going to be testing are a brand new shaving razor blade, a brand new box cutter blade, a brand new Havalon blade, and then what I'm going to be doing next is putting that up against a broadhead blade that I'm sharpening. For this review and sharpening and using the sharpness tester, we're going to look at the Grizzly broadheads. And let's look at the information on the back. Caution, sharp. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, they aren't going to come sharp. You're going to own a lot. And we're going to look at this under the microscope, but they are as toothy as heck. So they don't come sharp, but a lot of heads nowadays don't. But good steel, 1075 steel, Rockwell hardness of 52, 25-degree bevel, so we'll use my Stay Sharp fixed blade guide. But this long aspect ratio, It's a fantastic penetrator with this stamping going damn near to the tip. It's going to be a definite deer killer. So I'm going to put it under the microscope. We're going to look at the edge. We're going to sharpen it up and do a little sharpness testing on there. You can see how toothy it is. And then we're going to check it on the sharpness tester after the fact and see how they come out. Before we sharpen it, we're going to get an out of the package baseline for how sharp it is. And as you'd expect by looking at that toothy edge, it wasn't going to be that sharp. So let's fix that. We're going to partner the Grizzly single bevel with the Stay Sharp fixed blade guide. This says that they come in at 25 degrees, but I found that they're not exactly 25 degrees. They're somewhere around there. My fixed blade guide is 24 degrees, so it's certainly going to be close enough. Some guys want to add tape to the roller. Again, you don't need to add tape to the roller. Make it to the angle that the guide provides you, and then every time after that, you're going to be just fine. Boy, here you can see just how toothy that edge looks. I have an expectation of what sharp is based on these known sharp blades, and I would like to be able to get there. At each grit, I'm going to be getting a burr. If you don't know what that means, click down on my description. I've got a couple of videos about getting a burr. If you're a bow hunter and you're sharpening blades, you're going to care about that. It's the key to getting something sharp. Why am I using multiple grits? Because you can't get something sharp with one grit. If I start with 240, my blade's dull, I hit a bone, I pass through an animal, I got some touch-up to do, I'm probably going to start with 240. The test is going to show me what 240 looks like and how sharp it is. Then I'm going to go to 400. Why 400? Because I need to get rid of all the scratches that 240 created. I can't leave any behind on the very edge of this blade. I can't leave any of the 240 scratches behind, so I need to get rid of all of those at 400 and create a burr and establish a new edge. Why do I need to go to 800? Because I need to get rid of all of the 400 scratches. 1200 gets rid of all of the 800 scratches. 2500 gets rid of all of the 1200 scratches. And if I leave any behind, they'll certainly show up in the microscope under 1600 power. As with any head, you want to cover up the edge that you're sharpening with a dark colored marker so you can see your progress. Tells you when you've gotten rid of all the waviness from the manufacturer and got a flat head. The next step is alignment. So if I drive the taper up against the angle of the jaw and look at it, right, so this back edge is not making contact, right? I would have to tip it to make it work. Well, I need only push the back end out. Now when I tip it down, I've got even contact all the way around. That's the point at which I would tighten my screw. Give it a test roll. And look, I've got contact along the edge. Again, this edge is going to be wavy. The Grizzlies always are wavy. So as you can see, I'm hitting the entire edge. These heads are soft enough, Rockwell 52, that sandpaper works. You don't necessarily need a diamond plate for Grizzly heads. So I'm going to go through the sharpening all the grits that I have in stock, which is 240, 400, 800, 1200, 2500, and then I'll finish with buffing compound on cereal box cardboard, and we will check back. Alright, so I've been sharpening for a while, and you can see I'm getting the edge nice and flat. They're still on the heel and on the tip. Some areas that I have yet to flatten out. Developing a burr on the back side. This is a bit of a challenge with the Grizzlies because they're painted. So when you go to break the burr off on the back side, you will be removing some of the paint, but that's no big deal. You've got this entire exposed metal edge, a little bit of exposure on the back. Isn't that big of a deal? So while you can do this with sandpaper, you're not going to do an entire pack of heads with one sheet of sandpaper. It's going to take several sheets, but sandpaper is low cost. If you wanted to do it with something like a diamond plate, you'll get there faster. Diamond plates, of course, cost more, but just know, even with sandpaper, it's going to take several sheets to do a pack of heads. Alright, after cleaning up the edge, now it's time to break the burr. So on my second sheet of sandpaper, I brought it all the way to the edge. This happens to be just a marble plate. You'll need something flat, smooth, and you're going to want to run the sandpaper right to the edge, because the next step is breaking the burr off, and that means laying the head, and it has to hang over the edge of whatever you're sharpening on. Lay the head flat. You don't want to create a bevel on the backside. And you have to get rid of the burr you've created with 240 grit. This flattens up the backside, and as I said before, it's going to remove the paint because these heads are painted, but that's okay. You have to oil the heads anyway. They're not stainless. So break the burr off with the the grit that you created the burr with. In this case, I created the burr with 240 grit. I want to break that burr off with 240 grit hanging over the edge. And as I said, I'm going to get rid of the paint. That's just the nature of the game. But I have to do that in order to get rid of that burr. So we've got 240 grit complete. We're going to go 400, 800, 1200, 2500, then buffing compound. Alright, so now with the edge taken down and sharpened with all the grits of sandpaper, the final step is buffing compound. Here I just use cereal box cardboard, white buffing compound, and a backwards only stroke. If you go forward, you're going to cut the cardboard, you're going to scrape off the buffing compound. Now, as you can see, the buffing compound is going from white to black. That means it's actually eroding away the metal, polishing up that edge. You might get some buildup right behind the edge. There you can see it. Take your hand and wipe that away. You don't need much downward pressure. Just a backward stroke. Move to a fresh area. The nice thing about a cardboard strop versus a leather strop, when this becomes impacted and all gunked over, rather than having to redress a leather strop, clean up all the material and flatten it again, I just eat another box of Fruit Loops and I've got another panel to a box. Alright, so now we'll clean that up. And we're going to look at this under the microscope, but we had a pretty good idea how it's going to look. And then we're going to put it on the sharpness tester and see how we've improved the edge. Let's do another test. Let's try it again. I hope you found value in that. Now we can quantify what sharp looks like, and we were able to actually best razor blades. Now I can quantify this and say that my blades are sharper than a razor blade. And it won't just be some vapor, it'll be actual factual information. Not all steel is created equal. While I can get it all sharp, does it stay sharp from the hair to the last rib? That's a quality or a quantity of the steel that you used. So I hope you found this of some value. I'll be doing some more videos. Like I said, down below there's some links to other videos I've done on sharpness, because sharpness matters. Eventually the arrow gets there, and when it does, you really want this thing to be razor sharp. And now we can quantify what razor sharp is. So thanks for watching.